Hello, welcome to Wednesday Wine Night. I'm back. I had a week off last week and and here we are. So have you got your glass of wine? Because I do. Okay, so tonight, if you're joining me live as usual, just jump on and write any comments, or if you've got any questions, post them in the comments box, and I will do my best to answer them as we go along. So tonight's topic is about sleep, because there's always a few different things. Hi Abby. There's always a few different things treating women that come up. One of them is nearly always hormones. The other one is sleep, and then mood disorders and things like that. So, and remembering that everything is all interrelated, so that when we deal with one thing, we're effectively dealing with other things too. So sleep. What is it? It might sound like an incredibly stupid question, because every night we lay our head down, we shut our eyes, and we go to sleep, either easily or not so easily. Hi Sally. So what is sleep? So sleep was regarded up until recently as being an extremely passive thing. We're active, our brains are active, our bodies are active during the day, and then at night time we effectively kind of shut off. And I mean, look, to be honest, even now, even recent research doesn't know a whole lot about the brain and how it works and how it interconnects with other things and stuff like that. But we're getting there. But what we've realized is that there's nothing passive about sleep. Sleep is actually, obviously it's very different, and our brain and our body are doing very different things to what they're doing during the daytime, but it's most certainly not passive. So it just takes on a different role, so to speak. So there's two main stages of sleep, and that's the non-rapid eye movement stage, and that in itself has an extra 4 stages within it. And these 4 stages are sort of from when you are that, like, oh, I'm just drifting off to sleep but mostly awake. Hi Prue. Until that I'm in that really deep sleep stage. Now, we spend probably about a third. We go through the non-REM and the REM stages. We go through these cycles every 90 minutes all through the night. So it's not like you spend hours in one and then hours in another. And so we're cycling through about every 90 minutes all through the night. It's incredibly complex and incredibly interesting. So the rapid eye movement, that's the REM state. And this is where things get a little bit interesting, because this is where we have our dreams, and this is our dreaming state. So actually the mind is very active, and it's this is the time where really weird people pop up in situations and scenarios, and you wake up in the morning going, whoa, what was that about? So the mind's very active, and the body is actually in almost a semi-paralyzed state, if you will, and that's actually to stop us from acting out these dreams. Yeah, so because usually if our mind's telling us to do something, then our body will the way the neurological system is set up, that it will usually play a game together. So as I said, we cycle through all these stages about every 90 minutes, and the most of the deep sleep that we have is probably in the third of the night, and then most of the dream that REM, that dream time, is usually in the morning. So you can kind of see what happens, what you can be missing out on depending on where your problem area is. Is your problem a sleep initiation, so you find it really hard to get to sleep, or is it a sleep maintenance where you're out like a light, but then you wake up at certain times of the night and you might not be able to get back to sleep, and all sorts of stuff happens. Okay, so that's like touching the tip of the iceberg about what sleep is, and why do we sleep. So why do we do it? Well, basically we wouldn't really survive very long if we didn't have any sleep. So sleep is there to help repair our body, repair any damage. Obviously, when you're sick, you sleep more because it's like repair. You're repairing and you're healing and you're boosting your immune system. And also maintenance of the body, maintenance of the mind, maintenance of the neurological system. Okay, so what else are we doing when we sleep? We're hormone balancing. So we're there's so much involved with the hormones, and we'll speak a little bit about, especially about cortisol and melatonin. Brain adaptation. Now this is really quite interesting as well. So when we sleep, as I mentioned before, we process everything that's kind of gone on in the day. And what we know about the brain, and as I said, we don't know a heck of a lot, but what we do know is that the brain it's like a plasticine, so it's easily molded, and those pathways, those wiring that goes through the brain, is the more we do one thing, the more that pathway is laid down, and that wiring, so to speak, is laid down. So it's a really, really interesting idea as well, because we used to think that the brain was, once something happened to you, once you, like, you know, sort of extreme trauma and things like that, that was it, that was with you, there was no, sorry, just manage it. But we know now is that the brain is actually quite plastic, and it's moldable almost. Okay, gene expression. So gene expression, woo, that's another biggie, and it's kind of interesting. And the research and the current advancements in what we can do with gene expression, and how we can look at different genes, and how we can look at people's susceptibility to different diseases and different disease states, even in the future, is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And you can really, if you're really into that stuff, like I find it really interesting. We also know now that a lot of gene expressions and genetic dispositions are relating to everything from allergies to, huge chronic diseases, but also mental health issues and all sorts of things. So we can actually look at genes and the way your genes are expressing, and we can see what your susceptibility is and play around with that in terms of adding in nutrients and cofactors to support different pathways for these genes. So getting back to sleep, the thing about that gene expression that's really interesting is that there's a lot of ongoing research about how sleep it impacts on disease, not just the progression of disease, but the onset and how it actually contributes. And that's a lot to do with that gene expression. Okay, so how much sleep is needed? Oh my God. So $1 million question, right? And there's all, like everything, there's all of these ranges, and we have guidelines for absolutely everything. So, you know, it's interesting because the guidelines for sleep have actually just been revised, and they are they're revised within an hour now. So basically adults have been told that we need between 7 and 9 hours sleep a night. So let me know if you're getting that. Let me know if that's enough for you. Is it too little? Is it too much? Because some people find that they're really sluggish if they have too much sleep. So let me know. Obviously, teenagers have been told that they need sort of between 8 and 10 hours, and then school-age children are told that they need between 9 and 11. Once again, it's really hard to apply that to absolutely everybody, because we don't know your current state of health. We don't know what's on your plate in terms of stress, in terms of like mental health issues, in terms of nutritional deficiencies, and yeah, all sorts of things play a really big role in how much sleep you're going to need. So once again, you're going to have to play around with this and just really have a think about what works for you and what doesn't. So is anyone going to tell me how much sleep they get? I'm going to have a little drink of wine. Jai, you're probably not getting that much because you've got a new baby in the house. So I'm sure that's a bit of a shock to the system, to the sleep system. Okay. So, insomnia. So there's a couple of different types of insomnia when we not enough. Well, same with you, Sally, because you're living in a camper van with your family. A beautiful experience, but not great for sleep, I can imagine. Okay, so insomnia. There's a couple of different, insomnia obviously on a very, very basic level is the inability to sleep. Now, obviously we can talk about sleep maintenance, and we can also talk about onset. So they're very different things. But in terms of transient, there's transient insomnia, which is basically it comes and goes, like the word transient. So it lasts less than 4 weeks, and it's usually really circumstantial. So it's about it could be when you're feeling really excited, or you're super stressed about something, or nervous, or something's going on in your life basically, and it's quite transient. It doesn't hang around. So short term is when your insomnia hangs around for approximately 4 to 6 weeks, and this can be stresses starting to be a little bit more ongoing. It can be a medical condition that you have, a medical condition that you are in the process of getting. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. It could be a mental health issue as well. Okay, so chronic insomnia, and this is incredibly common, and this is where we really need to look at. The chronic is really, really important to look at, because this is when we start looking at cellular breakdown. This is when we start looking at huge amounts of inflammation systemically all through the body, and yeah, that can end up causing quite a lot of problems. Not just on a very physiological level in terms of chronic diseases, but just everyday life. Like if you're not sleeping, you feel rubbish. We know this. You're not able to cope with anyone. Everybody cops it, and it's just no way to live. Okay, so chronic insomnia is like every night or most nights that you have a real struggle to sleep, and it's for sort of 6 months or more. Now, people normalize this, and there's people that will listen to this and go, oh, that's not that bad, that's not that long, because there's a huge proportion of the population that are sleeping poorly every night, and this has been going on for years. So once again, this could be a hormone imbalance. This could be really ongoing stress, low-level chronic stress that's just hanging around all the time. Mental health issues are a really big one for chronic insomnia. And another really big one is medication as a side effect of the medication that you're taking for whatever condition that you are experiencing. So some of those medications are statins that are controlling cholesterol, especially if you've been on them for a long time and they haven't been reviewed, because that can be quite common as well, is that people go on statins. They were only ever researched for short-term use, and then you were meant to use them to reduce cholesterol and then get off them. But what happens is people are put on them and they're kept on them for a very long time. Also, antidepressants can have certain classes of the antidepressants can have a impact on sleep and cause insomnia, and also blood pressure medication. So hormone imbalances, because I love this stuff. I love talking about hormone imbalances. I don't really like them. Let's face it, no one likes hormone imbalances, but I like talking about them, and they're very interesting. And the minute you start playing with this stuff, it's quite amazing actually how much change that you can bring about. And that's using supplementation and herbs and stuff like that. But literally when it comes to hormone balancing, bringing in all of the stuff that we're talking about tonight, like all of this, and we will get to some of the remedies and what you can do at home to really improve your sleep. Between 7 and 8.5 hours used to be less. Work in progress. Woo! Go pro. Bet you're feeling great for it. Okay, so what we know, and we talked a little bit about this last week, because cortisol is a special little friend of mine. I like talking about cortisol. So cortisol is, once again, it is a stress hormone that is produced and excreted from the adrenal glands, which sit on top of your kidneys. Hi, Grace. And so basically what happens is, once again, as I mentioned last week, we need some cortisol. It's very important. It gives us our oomph. We'd be lying around on the couch all day and not getting anything done if we didn't have any. But the problem lies when it's too high, too low, or it's elevated in times like the evening when it's not meant to be. So in a perfect world, cortisol is elevated in the morning because that's the time that we're getting up, we're getting going, we're pumped, it's the day, it's like, let's get into it. And then so we're sort of up here in the daytime in the morning with our cortisol, and then as the day goes along, and then towards the evening it drops away, right? So that's our cortisol, and that's what we want. And then, so cortisol and spirit fingers. So cortisol and melatonin do this happy little dance with each other. I'm from New Zealand, so I say dance. A lot of you will say dance. So cortisol's up here in the morning. Melatonin's down here in the morning, because melatonin's our lovely little hormone that will help us sleep. So in a perfect world, that's what's going on. And then they intersect. So in the nighttime, we have got our cortisol down here, and we've got, I'm not going to do the Macarena, by the way, and we've got the melatonin up here. So we're relaxed, we're sleepy, we're not charging, we're not like, okay, now's the time to clean the house. Now's the time to do the bookwork. Now's the time I'm going to start decluttering the linen cupboard, and I'm going to stay on my computer until 3 o'clock in the morning and do all of these things that cortisol will encourage us to do if it's high in the evening. Even just simply sitting in front of Netflix and binge watching something till 2 a.m. or even midnight. Will be partly because your cortisol is giving you that little nudge. So that is what we want in a perfect world. But obviously, because of stress and because of environmental toxins and because of the world that we live in, a lot of the time what's happening is, hi Jamie, hi Joe, is cortisol is higher in the evening and melatonin is lower in the morning. And what you're doing is you're finding it really hard to get to sleep. You find it really hard to stay asleep. And then when you wake up in the morning, you're as groggy as hell. So that's when things are a bit back to front. Yeah, so there's the hormone involvement. And obviously there's a lot more. There's a lot of sex hormones and stuff like that come into play as well, especially for women and different times in their cycle. Okay, which of course is the causes of insomnia. So obviously the things that we're doing every single day. So the coffee intake, the caffeine intake, and it could be coffee for some people. It could be having half a green tea in the morning for others that are exceptionally caffeine sensitive and have issues with those detoxification pathways in their liver. So that's really something to think about. The other thing is smoking also affects your hormones and your ability to get to sleep, as well as your neurotransmitters. And also, if you've just recently given up smoking, that tends to be a problem for a lot of people as well. There's a lot of stress and stuff involved with that. Okay, obviously there's circadian rhythms, and that's part of what we were talking about with the melatonin and with the and the cortisol. And then obviously, so people that are stressed, also shift workers, they find it really tricky as well. Menopause. Menopause. So about 30 to 40% of menopausal and perimenopausal women have massive problems with insomnia. And there is so much that we can do about that. So much that we can do about this. It's just like there's so much that we can do with the hormonal insomnia and with the hormone balancing and the insomnia that women get around their menstrual cycles. Mental health issues, so obviously things like anxiety and depression, dementia, and post-traumatic stress disorders as well really impact insomnia. Pain conditions. Oh, holy dooly. So fibromyalgia, even your simple heartburn. Arthritis is another really big one. And yeah, so just all of those really inflammatory conditions. Even your restless leg syndrome, where your leg just won't stop moving. Okay, so when we talk about all of the causes of insomnia, it's really important to know what that is, because let's face it, you could go to your doctor and get a sleeping tablet that will knock you out. I mean, it's really that simple. And you could go to the chemist and you could just get a herb, and they're phenomenal. Our herbs are phenomenal, and I know because I use them with women, I use them with people and children all the time with really good effect. But the whole thing is, hi Emma, the whole thing is that if you're not working out why you're not sleeping, then you're just putting a band-aid over it. You're literally not listening to your body and working out what is going on. Because I'm telling you, insomnia and inability to sleep is a whisper. It's a whisper to you that something is going on. Something is not right, and you need to, take something to get you sleeping. Absolutely. But also figure out why you're not. Sleeping pills are not a long-term solution. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And there are very, very, very few people that have told me that they take sleeping pills and feel okay the next day. This is awesome. Yay! Thanks, Grace. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So as I said, there is so much that we can do, but it's thank you. No worries, Grace. I'll see you later. So it's really, really important to be able to figure out what is going on in your world. What is it that's causing the insomnia? Is it the hormones? Is it the stress? Is it worry? Is there mental health issues? And when I say hormones, is it menopause? Is it your menstrual cycle? Is it pregnancy? Is it something in your diet that you're incredibly sensitive to? Is it something that is it recreational drugs? Alcohol as well is a really big one. So, are you in pain? Because you don't need to be. So all of these things are really, really important. And listening to that whisper and figuring out why your body is whispering to you. Okay, what can we do? Woo, let's get into the fun stuff. I'm just going to have a little sip of wine. Okay, what can we do? Obviously, we're going to treat the cause. Figure out what that cause is and really work on that, because that is the thing that's going to give you the long-term benefits. That's the thing that's really going to kind of get things moving and get things healing for you. But obviously there's lots of things that you can do as well. So I know you could probably Google all of this stuff and go, oh yeah, I can work this out. Oh, yeah. But, there's absolutely so much research for basic sleep hygiene. So no screens after about 8:30 at night. I know there'll be people absolutely cringing right now and freaking out. It's... You just, once again, when you're looking at those screens all the time, your cortisol's going through the roof and it's depleting your levels of melatonin. So you've got to ditch it. Blue lights are great, but if you've got a problem with sleeping, you've got to ditch the screens in the evening. A cool, dark room, really important as well. So once again, the minute that we have light in our eyes, our brains are so cool. It thinks that your brain thinks it's daytime and immediately drops the melatonin levels. That's why I get sleep deprived people and people that wake groggy to go straight outside in the morning to get that light in your eyes, to drop those melatonin levels, to elevate the cortisol levels first thing and to get you revved up in the morning. But we don't want that at night. Okay, another couple of really, really lovely things that you can do that are lifestyle factors is journaling. Now, this doesn't have to be lighting candles and getting nude and spreading crystals around, unless you really want to, and that's your jam. But it can be just as simply as writing out your worries. spending 2 minutes on a scrap piece of paper, ripping it up, scrunching it up, chucking it out before you go to bed. It doesn't have to be ritualistic. It doesn't have to be a big deal. And the same with your to-do list, is to spend a couple of minutes writing your to-do list for the next day. This is an absolute game changer for people for the A-type personalities that have got a lot going on, and they wake up in the night going, oh, got to do that. Oh, I forgot to do that. Well, it's on your list. It can get done first thing in the morning. Clean, fresh sheets, because they're just awesome and we love them. Magnesium baths. This is so old school and so effective. Not really hot and not right before you go to bed, especially if it's, on the warmer side. But Epsom salts, you've got old-fashioned Epsom salts, and not a tablespoon, not 2 tablespoons, a cup in your bath water and soak in it for about 20 minutes. Magnesium is exceptionally well absorbed transdermally via the skin. Really, really, really well absorbed. Well worth it. And the other one that's a really nice thing to do is a little bit of yin or restorative yoga in the evenings. This, once again, this can be YouTube in front of your Mac. I know I said no screens, but this is an exception. And it can be 10 minutes of just breathing and stretching. And you know that you need it with any type of restorative yoga and yin yoga when your brain is screaming at you that it's a waste of time. So honestly, I promise you, this is some of this, this stuff works. This is the work. Emma, how can it be in your DNA? My dad's a bad sleeper, my brother's the same, and you know how bad I am. Yep. Even Izzy struggles with sleep, which worries me. Yes, and this is about, once again, I'm not sure if you were around when I started and I was talking about genes and gene expression. And it absolutely, genes definitely can have a susceptibility to different conditions such as insomnia, but there's so much that you can still do about it. It's like when we're talking about methylation and we're talking about kids and pyrroles and behavior and going, okay, well, that's their genetic expression and that's what's going on with that gene. But then what we can do is we know that we can actually manipulate different genes in different ways, and it's called epigenetics, and it is awesome. So yes, there is so much that you can do. And actually what it means is, it's not a life sentence. What it means is that you have to work a little bit harder in that area, and everyone's got something, trust me. I missed the start, but definitely taking on everything you've suggested. Awesome, because I've got some more suggestions as well. Okay, foods that are high in tryptophan. So tryptophan is a neurotransmitter, and tryptophan comes from food, and then tryptophan is actually, in the end, it's converted along a serotonin pathway in your gut. So we need good gut function. Naturopaths know this. And serotonin is made in the gut, and then serotonin is converted to melatonin in the brain. Oh my God, I love it. And then melatonin is the thing that helps us sleep. So if we can have foods that are high in tryptophan, especially in the evenings, then you will be on your way using food as medicine to help you sleep. So foods that are high in tryptophan: turkey, really high in tryptophan. So turkey's a great option. Lots of your animal proteins are, but turkey is your go-to. So brown rice and quinoa is some other options as well. Magnesium, I know we talked about magnesium baths, but also just magnesium as a food. There isn't anyone on the planet that could do with some more magnesium. So thinking about having some crackers and some almond, like a almond spread. Once again, not too much. It's not about impeding digestion, especially at night, but just having a little bit of something. Something that I have nearly every night, and it's so beautiful and it's very, very nourishing, is a almond milk with raw cacao. So I'll heat up a cup of almond milk, and I will have a probably like a heaped teaspoon of cacao. It's very rich, so you might want to start off like lower, and a couple of drops of stevia, and that's really high magnesium. Very nourishing. So also natural yogurt, if you can tolerate it, with some cinnamon as well, is also a nice blood sugar regulating thing to eat, with calcium in it, which is important for sleep. Herbal teas. Ooh, love it. Okay, so you've got a lot to choose from. So lots and lots of different herbal teas. You've got chamomile, you've got valerian, you've got lemon balm, passion flowers, absolutely beautiful. Kava is extremely effective but tastes revolting. Lavender's beautiful. Not only is it really, really good for sleep, but it looks beautiful. Like it's bright purple, so it's very lovely. It feels very indulgent. And a lovely, lovely herb called withania, which is not only really good for winding down and sleeping, but it's actually an incredible blood tonic, and tonic in general for women who are really depleted, and it's an adaptogenic herb as well. Adaptogenic means that it helps you adapt your stress levels, adapt to what's going on in your life. Supplements. Okay, now you're going to need to come and see me or see a qualified health practitioner for this side of things, because one of the things. Can you post those suggestions, Katie? I'm cooking dinner, so I can't write them down. Yep, okay, cool. I'll put them in the comments, Sally. The teas. You'll be able to stop off at a herbal tea at a health food shop somewhere along the way and get yourself some on your travels. Okay, so supplementation is really important to get it right. You can waste a whole lot of money, and actually, like, it's not just a waste of money, but it's a waste of health. Okay, case in point is valerian. Look, valerian's totally okay to take as a tea, but valerian has got the ability to have a paradoxical effect. A paradoxical effect is when we know via research that a certain herb or a certain drug or a certain nutrient has a certain action on maybe 99% or between 90 to 99% of people. But then it's a little bit tricky, and it has the opposite effect on maybe 1 to 10% of people. So, valerian is one of those herbs. If we take it as a supplement or a tincture, if we supplement it in quite high dose, phenomenal for you if you're in that 90%. Bummer if you're not, because it's going to keep you awake. So it's really important to cut through the confusion and cut through the noise about what's going on for you, and just to be able to hand it over and go, this is what's going on for me, help. And I can help. So I really am not going to advise you to supplement without proper supervision. And that's not me at your kitchen bench telling you what to take. That's me prescribing appropriately for you and your lifestyle. Just because so many people waste so much money too. But one thing that I will advise you to take is a really good multivitamin during the day. And there's so much controversy about multivitamins. They work, they don't work, they're dangerous. I'm just like, really? No. But it's a bit of a coverall. It's not to replace a good diet, and it's not to replace any type of medical care, but it is a really good blanket to anything that you might be missing. Once again, a good quality multivitamin that you get from a qualified naturopath or nutritionist, because they are going to be able to get you the good stuff in the good forms, because a nutrient isn't just a nutrient. So why do you want to take this multivitamin? Well, it's got a lot of Bs in it. Bs manage stress, and also Bs are really important for your detoxification pathways, which obviously if you're not detoxifying properly, you're using a lot of energy. It will keep you up at night, trust me. It's going to give you a little bit of a boost of magnesium and calcium, which we've also talked about for relaxation, but also for relaxing those muscle fibers and that muscle contraction as well. And also another really, really important one is zinc, and there's going to be some zinc in your multivitamin. Once again, really important to get things checked out before, especially with zinc, iron, anything, just don't supplement yourself, because you can actually do yourself some damage. But there is a lot of people that do need extra zinc, and zinc is a cofactor for nearly every neurotransmitter pathway in your body. Remember, neurotransmitters are the things that keep us feeling good, help us sleep, basically absolutely everything. Another important thing that I would advise a lot of women as well is, if they're feeling extremely fatigued and sleep is an issue and stuff like that, is to get your iron checked, is to go to your GP and get your iron checked. So do I have any questions at the moment? I've just been like flying through it tonight. I was really excited to talk about this. No. Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, okay, so just let me know if there is. You can also private message me with questions, or if you'd like to know more about booking in with me and getting that personalised care, which is, as I know I've mentioned it before, but it's like me trying to do book work. I really tried for a very long time, and I'm terrible at it. And I finally handed it over to a bookkeeper, and it was like, it was amazing. So it's like, okay, I'm going to do my job. You're going to do your job, and let's just hand over what we need to each other. Okay, there are so many things that you can be doing, and these are a really good start. And I think we've moved into a bit of an era where people are expecting to be able to pop a pill or even take a herb or take a supplement and be able to snap your fingers and whoosh, everything happens. But the real healing and the real changes is when you implement all of this stuff as well. And I absolutely implore you to really look at what's going on and why you're not sleeping, to listen to that whisper. That is a whisper. That's absolutely a whisper. That's your body trying to tell you something is up. Something is going on. Hi, Kerry, I'm just about to finish, so you might have to start from the beginning. So that it's like pain. Pain is a whisper to you that something is going on. Insomnia and not being able to sleep is a whisper, and I implore you to look at that before it becomes that scream, before it becomes something that the horse is kind of bolted and it's a lot harder to rein back in. So I really hope that's been of benefit. I hope you've got something out of it. And as I said, if you have any questions, I will, Sally asked me to post my suggestions for the herbal teas. I'll post that in the comments. Now with that, you can literally go into your health food store and buy them bulk, or you can go into the supermarket and buy tea bags and things like that. They generally aren't of the best quality. I would definitely like to see you doing the herbs, the loose leaf herbs, and making a plunger and having a drink of that. But I really hope you got something, because sleep is one of those things. And if you're a mother, or if you're going to be a mother, or you're a father, you know how you feel when you don't sleep. And And it just simply doesn't have to be this way. It really doesn't. So I implore you to implement the things that we've put in, that I've told you about today. This is the work. This will get you results. But also really look at why. Really look at that root cause, because that's what needs to be addressed. And come and see me if you need help. I am here. I love this. I love this. I love this stuff so much. And yeah, this is my life work. So you can book in and see me face to face if you are local in my Tweed Heads clinic. Or you can book in via Skype. And I'll pop the link in as well, because I sometimes feel, especially with hormones and sleep and stress and mental health issues, be it anxiety or depression, there's a lot of people that just don't want to openly talk about this stuff. They don't want to sort of come out and go, oh, put their hand up and go, yeah, that's me. Because even though we've come a long way, there's still quite a stigma about these things. And it doesn't quite fit in with the super mum persona that a lot of people try to uphold. So I implore you to do the work. I implore you to improve your life, which is what improving your sleep will do. And book in with me to get the personalised care, because this is what I do. And accountants do that, and I do this. Happy days. All right, you guys. This has been fun. I love this. Have a really good evening. Have a fantastic sleep. And switch those screens off when we are done. Bye, guys. See ya.